Welcome to the Florida Person Podcast. It's where we do weird news that we found
Hey,
on the internet.
we're gonna do it.
Yeah, I'm Jackie Schwartz,
I'm Meg Gallagher.
and you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about odd things that
Yeah,
we read.
Florida,
Florida
Florida,
person.
Florida,
Florida person.
Florida, Florida.
Florida person.
So I have a couple of good. One is kind of sad this week. I guess it's like a sad story, but both of mine take
Oh.
place at the airport.
Oh, really? Oh, I have a silly story about it, a little animal, and then I have like some historical information that I kind of found interesting.
Well, we do love history here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's get into it. I'll just say, I guess we missed a week there because I was sick with a pretty gnarly head cold. Not COVID, it's a head cold. But still kicked my ass a little bit, but we're back on track, baby.
Yeah, glad you're feeling better.
I am. So if I'm just like a little rough sounding, that's just your voice after a week of, all of that.
Oh,
I also think like when you get sick like that, you wind up like not realizing that you're sleeping with your mouth open, and then you have like a
oh,
really
yeah.
scratchy throat the next day for a while.
Yeah.
So
And then it
yeah,
is like when you get sick, you're like it's just when I'm well, I never even think about being sick, and then when I get sick, then it's like, "Oh, geez, this is awful. This is terrible."
how I take advantage of being well and like breathing out of my actual nose and having my ears popped, and like what a beautiful luxury that is to live each day like with all your functions like just firing off correctly.
Yeah.
Such a disruption when your body's just like, "Oh, none of these are working." And you're like, "Oh, I need
I
some
need
of
to
these to work
yeah, just to be able
just to
to
get by. I just need a
yeah, 'cause
few
it's
of these."
exhausting. It is exhausting being sick.
It's insane that, it takes I mean, it only took like about a week to get better, but it's kind of insane that people are even able to do that cuz like, back when we were hunter gatherers or something, I feel like the having any of these functions not working would be like, "Well, that's it. That's you're
That's it.
done now."
We shun you. Get away. We
Yeah.
throw rocks. We throw rocks at you.
Or just like you'd get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger or something because you couldn't hear it because your ears are like all like messed up, and you couldn't breathe out of your mouth, so you were making like really heavy breathing sounds, and that would be it. So
Well, that's good that you're feeling better and there's no tigers after you or anything like that.
no, and not this time.
Not this time. Then you'd end up in one of these stories we read.
That is true. That is
Yeah.
true. So what is this first story you have?
Okay, first story. Back in business after your illness. This is a UPI story and it's by Ben Hooper.
Hey, back at it. Now I feel back at home. Ben Hooper, UPI, it's all coming to back. It's all coming back together.
And this is like really, I mean, this is I don't know what would I don't know how I would react if this happened to me.
Mhm.
But this is deer breaks into how do you I always say Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
I want to say Wisconsin or something. Deer breaks into Wisconsin home, gets trapped for 3 hours.
Oh. Oh no.
And this is a story from November 14th, just happened. A Wisconsin couple said they received a shock when an unwelcome guest broke in through a glass door, an adult deer. Sue and Richard Jacki said they were at their West Allis home when they heard a loud crash and discovered a deer had broken through their glass storm door and was ransacking their living room. Doesn't ransacking mean like is
Yeah,
that
isn't
even
that when somebody breaks in and is like messing it up on purpose? I feel like the deer wasn't messing it up
purposely?
on purpose.
Yeah, with intent to like mess things up, take things, snatch things
Yeah, I
away.
think for ransack you have to have intent.
If you If you tell anybody, nobody can believe that a full-grown deer is trapped inside your house and can't get out, Sue Sajecki told Spectrum News 1. The couple said the deer ran up the stairs and investigated every room in an apparent hunt for an exit. There's a lot of editorializing going on from these people.
Yeah,
Investigating,
they're putting this
ransacking.
personality on the deer that I don't feel like the deer really, was trying to embody this, you know?
The deer was trapped in their home for about 3 hours while awaiting help from Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources personnel. With the help of other officers, we were able to scare it out of the room it was trapped into, and because we had all the other doors closed off, we were able to direct it back down the stairs and out the front door, DNR Warden Eric Anderson said. Anderson said the deer may have been drawn to the home by a pair of wooden deer holiday decorations in the
No,
couple's
I don't think
yard.
that's it.
He said the buck then may have seen its own reflection in the glass door and attempted to initiate a fight. Oh, that's pretty hilarious. Ho employees
The Christmas, like, deer that the deer was like, "Oh, gotta go check that lady out," or
I know,
something.
this is like such a Looney Tunes thing, like, "Hubba hubba. Who is this over there? This dame? Ooh." And then seeing, "Hey, she's my gal, smash."
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, I don't know. Wait, if so the deer got in and then couldn't find a way out, how'd it get in? Couldn't it just retrace its steps if this deer is so personified?
I would like more details about it. I'm thinking that I don't know, maybe it went up the stairs. I don't know.
Oh, are
Now
deers
I'm
like
putting things
cows where they can't go
Now
downstairs?
I'm putting things into it. I don't know, I saw some odd animal friendship show or something like people living having animals, and there was, like, some sorta deer that was living in a home that was, like, upstairs that I mean, when guided down because it was a tame deer, tame enough.
There was an I Love Lucy episode where I don't remember how Lucy was in possession of this horse, but she was trying to hide it from Ricky. And so they
Oh.
get it up to the apartment and it's like in the bedroom and it's like shenanigans like ensue with her trying to hide this horse from
Mhm.
Ricky, but then the horse won't go back down the stairs when they're trying to get it out. And I specifically
Oh,
remember it was like Fred or Ethel being like, "Oh yeah, horses don't walk downstairs." And that was the plot, that
the
this
wow.
horse couldn't get back down. So maybe it's something like that?
Well, apparently, horses crash through windows a lot in Wisconsin because they say employees at a Wisconsin school office faced a similar situation last week. At Pacelli Catholic Schools, a deer crashed through a window into the office shared by Director of Advancement Shauna Rhodes and Director of Marketing Joe Napiaki. The deer eventually made it its own way out of the building without any injuries to
Huh.
humans or animal. That door, that now
I
that
guess I've
deer.
never lived in a place where deers were a nuisance, but I guess deers can sort of be a nuisance in some areas.
Yeah, yeah, they can, dart in front of cars. That can be a problem, and I guess they can
We're
just
just used to, like,
break in.
iguanas being, like, the main pest, you know?
Yeah, like, at the window where you look out and you're like, "Ooh, there's an iguana, and they're so fast," and, "Oh, look, he's up in a tree. Oh, they're sunning by the road." Or we see raccoons or foxes, coyotes,
I
sometimes
remember in high
deer.
school, we had those, like, mobile, like, the portable classrooms because our
Oh,
school was
yeah.
overcrowded,
Yeah.
and my one social studies class, there was definitely, like, a family of raccoons, like, burrowed into the roof, like, living in there, and you would just
Mhm.
hear them, like, poking around and, like, tapping, like, during class, and one time they were trying to change a light bulb, and this, like, raccoon's, like, face was just, like, popped up in the corner of, like, where the lamp
Oh
was,
my
and it was just like,
gosh. Oh, they're so cute. Their little faces.
that's generally what we had to deal with, but no deers. No deers, my
No,
dear.
they seem to be, very dramatic.
So dramatic.
Dramatic.
So dramatic.
So, yeah, so that was, I guess be careful of deers that want to ransack your home.
Yeah, so watch out, like get it together, dears. My dear, you're going too far. Oh
So what do
boy.
you got? What do you got?
So some people might have heard this story the other day. So this is coming from the AP by Jeffrey Schaefer, November 12th, 2022. The headline is Iranian who inspired the terminal dies at Paris airport. So this guy was
That's
like,
right, and that Tom Hanks movie.
uh-huh. So it inspired the Tom Hanks movie, but in the hot Tom Hanks movie, it was a Steven Spielberg film, and like Tom Hanks was like playing like a guy from like a made up like Eastern European country. So
Yeah.
the actual guy was an Iranian man, and he lived in Charles de Gaulle Airport for 18 years because he didn't have his documents because of like a whole thing.
That I haven't seen that movie in a really long time.
So it's based on that, and this really happened. So an Iranian man who lived for 18 years in Paris's Charles de Gaulle Airport, and whose saga loosely inspired the Steven Spielberg film The Terminal, died Saturday in the airport that he long called home. Officials said. Miran Karami Nasiri, I think that's correct because that's phonetically how you say it. But if I'm wrong, let me know, died after a heart attack in the airport's Terminal 2F around midday, according to an official with the Paris Airport Authority. Police and a medical team treated him but were not able to save him, the official said. The official was not authorized to be publicly named. Nasseri lived in the airport's Terminal 1 from 1988 until 2006, first in legal limbo because he lacked residency papers, and later by apparent choice. Year
Mm.
in and year out, he slept on a red plastic bench, making friends with airport workers, showering in staff facilities, writing in his diary, reading magazines, and surveying passing travelers. Staff nicknamed him Lord Alfred, and he became a mini celebrity among passengers.
Mhm. And
Eventually, I will leave the airport, he told the Associated Press in 1999, smoking a pipe on his bench, looking frail with long thin hair, sunken eyes, and hollow cheeks. But I am still waiting for a passport or transit visa.
Oh,
Nasseri was born
wow.
in 1945, in a part of Iran then under British jurisdiction, to an Iranian father and British mother. He left Iran to study in England in 1974. When he returned, he was imprisoned for protesting against the Shah and expelled without a passport.
Ugh,
So he applied for
jeez.
political asylum in several countries in Europe, and the UNHCR in Belgium gave him refugee credentials, but he said his briefcase containing the refugee certificate was stolen in a Paris train station. French police later arrested him, but he couldn't deport him anywhere because he had no official documents. So he ended up at Charles de Gaulle in August 1988 and stayed.
Wow, this is like I mean, it was a very entertaining movie. It's a very interesting man.
So it says when he finally received refugee papers, he described his surprise and insecurity about leaving the airport. He reportedly refused to sign them and ended up staying there several more months until he was hospitalized in 2006 and later lived in a Paris shelter. Those who befriended him in the airport said the years of living in the windowless space took a toll on his mental state. The airport doctor in the 1990s worried about his physical and mental health and described him as fossilized here. A ticket agent friend compared him to a prisoner incapable of living on the outside. In the weeks before his death, Nasseri had begun again living at the Charles de Gaulle airport, an official said. Nasseri's mind-boggled tales loosely inspired 2004's The Terminal, starring Tom Hanks, as well as a French film, Lost in Transit, and an opera called Flight.
Oh my gosh, I have to I what is that opera called? Flight?
Flight.
Ugh, oh my gosh. My sister, she's an opera singer, and, oh, I wonder if she knows about this. If she doesn't, I have to tell her about this.
Yeah. So he unfortunately passed away. Rest in peace. But it's just really interesting because I've had to travel a lot for my work, and I've been in hundreds of airports, and I would
You
never
wouldn't
want to be in there for longer than I have to. I've slept on like airport floors and like horrible couches and things as well. And it's just, the airport. Ooh, yeah.
Wow, I mean, that's r yeah.
They said it
I
took a toll on his mental state, and I'm just like, "Oh my god, yeah, yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah."
Well, he certainly left an impression on the world, and his story is out there, and
Yeah, I mean, pretty interesting stuff, you know? I mean, it's very, very interesting. It's sad for sure, but it's also like that's just really interesting. I
Mhm.
also it doesn't go into it, and I've never really had this question answered, but I'm like, how did he eat? You know?
How did he any of that?
Like, I know that so he got, like, mail, and it would almost be brought to him by, like, passengers, and he got, like, gifts and things like that from passengers. But in the terminal in, like, the movie, I remember Tom Hanks, like, eating a lot at the McDonald's and them just, like, giving him the food.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
I wonder if they were just the airport workers just knew he was there and would just give him, leftovers or something like that.
Gosh.
It wouldn't be so bad if every once in a while they just like let you into like the Centennial Lounge or whatever.
Just,
Just like lounge it out. I mean, there's only like a few places in certain airports where I'm like, I could stay some extra time. Like there's this one place in the Denver airport that's like this like quiet zone with these really
mhm.
comfortable lounge chairs, and it's just up by the USO, but no
Yeah.
one knows it's there. It's not advertised. I just stumbled upon it one day.
Oh, so it's like your private little piece
Yeah,
of
it's like this quartered
airport
off like
heaven?
lounge area, but it's not like anybody can go into there, and it's just really comfortable chairs, basically like loungers that you can stretch out and actually take a nap on, and it's all supposed to be like quiet. Like everybody's silent. So I don't know. That's like the only place I go there every time I have a layover at the Denver airport. I go find my quiet chair and just go relax there for a little bit.
You should, do reviews of airports.
Oh man. Oh, well, you know, I have I have pretty large opinions, especially LAX. LAX has got to be the worst airport in the entire world. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh gosh,
The worst one.
yeah,
It's so bad. It's bad to get in there. It's bad to get out of there. The restaurants in there are bad.
they're
There's all weird
terrible.
restaurants in there.
Yeah, you'd think that they'd have better restaurants at LAX, but they're really just bad.
And it's a mess. It's the only place where I've gone into the terminal and they're like, "All right, well, you're in your terminal. Now you got to take like a bus to the other side." I'm like, why? Why am I now getting on a bus?
Oh my gosh, I've never had to take a bus. I have, like, no interest in flying anywhere because I don't want my wheelchair to be, like, destroyed
Yeah,
because it's awful, like, flying with a wheelchair, if you're a wheelchair user, it's just an absolute nightmare.
that's a very, expensive and complicated device like a mechanical wheelchair like that.
Yeah,
And you
and
have to
there's
put
just
these people, like, you have to trust them to not, destroy it.
just
And if you
yeah,
do and something's not working when you get it at the other end, it's like, oh,
they
now
don't
you're
do
stranded in a
anything.
place with a non-working chair.
Yeah, and it's not just,
It's not a quick fix.
no, it's not something that you're able to just my wheelchair is specifically designed for me. People who use wheelchairs, they're designed for their bodies. They use them I have to have, like, tilt features on mine. It's very expensive. It's really hard to replace. And so, like, I have absolutely no interest in flying anywhere just because it just happens on a constant basis. Hopefully, I don't know, in the future, maybe things will change. I hope things will change, but, as of right now, I'm like, I don't wanna fly anywhere.
Yeah.
Airports, airplanes, no fun.
Yeah, and you almost can't even blame, like, the guys who are just, like, throwing the stuff onto the plane because 'cause they're making, like, minimum wage and they have these deadlines. They're like the Amazon workers that
Mhm.
you're like, "Oh, you delivered my package wrong," and then you're like, "Man, I can't even get mad at you for that because this is not a great job."
I know, and you look at all the time frames and the risks that they have with speed and animals they
Yeah.
have to deal with, and
Yeah,
Oof.
that's my worst fear is that at some point I have to like fly with Scooter because we have like no other choice, and they tell me he's too big and has to go under the plane. I'd be like, no,
Oh, no, I would yeah,
no,
no, that
no.
yeah.
I think that's where kitties go to
I
die.
was I would like, when I left Los Angeles to come back to Florida and I brought Theo with me, I remember I was like, oh, I was very nervous that they were gonna say he was too fat because he was just able to fit into the JetBlue little cat carrier, and I read the instructions where it said that the animal has to be able to, like, turn around, and I thought that I thought that they were going to make him, like they were gonna say,
Like
like,
do a
"Turn
whole
around, sir."
test.
And he was going to turn around, they'd be like, "Mm, you can't turn around." But, I mean, he fit in there, I mean, he couldn't, like, walk around like, I don't know, leisurely. They weren't
You know
gonna
what I
say
don't
turn
get,
around.
and I know because I've read the like instructions too, where it's cats have to be 20 pounds and under. They can't
Mm.
be over 20 pounds to fly, or they have to like go under the plane. But
Oh, no.
but dogs just have to be able to fit at your feet. It could be like an 80-pound dog, but it has to be able to curl up like
What?
on your feet. So why is that fair? You know?
No,
If the cat
no.
still fits in the, like, the area, he should be able to be 21 pounds.
And if Scooter were to fly in the plane, they should pay you for that because he's just
Yeah.
adorable, and he's
Yeah,
a
you're
big
welcome.
bear boy, and he's so cute.
You're welcome. Exactly. So, I don't get these rules. Make better rules. Make better
Yeah,
rules.
yeah.
So, anyway, what else you have here?
Alright. Well, I know we're out of, like, the spooky season, but we're kind of in the residual spooky season,
I think you're
and
allowed to still be spooky. It's,
yeah, a
what is it? Nightmare
weird.
Before Christmas is still
Yeah.
a
Ex
thing, and,
yeah, exactly. So I found this, story of it's called, it takes place in ancient Rome and different little emperors being real awful to people. Mm, you know, this is
oh,
from
yeah.
J
I think a lot of them were terrible, right?
real
Nero
real
and his
terrible.
violin and playing his fiddle while
Yes.
the whole city burned.
Yes, and Caligula with his Caligula-isms, all of those awful things.
Well, also Caligula, that it sounds like a sex thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah.
does. There's a movie that was produced by Hustler, starring Malcolm McDowell in the '70s,
Huh,
where there's, like, some graphic scenes in there. That's a crazy movie. This is
okay.
from JSTOR Daily, and this is Cabinet of Curiosities, A Roman Feast of Death.
Ooh.
The banquet hall was painted black from ceiling to floor by the pale flicker of grave lamps. The invited senators could make out a row of tombstones. This is by Amelia South, and this is from October 17th, 2019. If you're planning a Halloween party this month, well, this was in October of years ago, you could
Yeah,
take some
2019 before all
yeah,
the stuff.
exactly. Stupid me. You could take some tips from the Roman Emperor mm. I was, like, doing all of my, pronunciation work before this started, and, like, it just completely left me. Emperor Domitian. In 89 CE, he staged a banquet so spooky, it left his guests fearing for their lives. This
Uh-oh.
guy is out of control. Listen to this. The banquet hall was painted black from ceiling to floor. By the pale flicker of grave lamps, the invited senators were able to make out a row of tombstones set before the dining couches, each inscribed with one of their names. Slave boys dressed as phantoms brought in courses on gleaming black dishes. They were piled with food, but not the lavish delicacies of an emperor's table. Rather, Domitian served his guests the plain offerings traditionally given to the dead. The senators began to wonder if soon they would be dead themselves.
Hmm.
After the dinner ended, the guests spent the whole night expecting summons for an execution to appear at any moment. Finally, in the morning, this is like the longest night ever, Domitian sent messengers to inform them that the gravestones, now revealed to be made of solid silver, the costly dishware, and the slave boys were given to them as gifts. In a certain sense, in a certain sense, Domitian was participating with extra flair in a long-standing Roman banquet tradition, that of the memento mori, larva convivialis. Little bronze skeletons were common dinner gifts. They served to remind guests to enjoy their fleeting pleasures because death is always near. The little skeletons were made with jointed limbs so they could join in the banquet festivities with a jiggling dance. They're kind of cute. At least on the surface, it was all a harmless prank. The fact was, Domitian could have easily have had his guests killed. Anyone could fall from imperial grace. Domitian had even executed his nephew and exiled his niece. Even after Domitian revealed that the gravestones were solid silver treasures, their unspoken threat lingered in the air. But the fact that the emperor had the power to deal out death at will did not mean he himself was safe. Domitian keenly felt the looming threat of assassination. He even had the gallery where he took his daily walk lined with moonstone polished to a mirror sheen so that he could watch his back. So,
Ooh.
let me see. Okay, there's a little bit more.
I don't know why, but this is just it's different, but it's reminding me of like the second Harry Potter book where they go to like the Death Day feast for this ghost.
I guess she took it from some Roman stuff going on.
Maybe.
Let me see. Nor was Domitian the only emperor to delight in terrorizing his guests. According to Seneca, Caligula ordered the execution of a young man, then invited the man's father to dinner the very same day.
Oh, that's
The,
just rude.
the man chatted and joked with the emperor, knowing that if he showed the slightest sign of grief, Caligula would order the death of his other son. Ugh. Then there's Elagubulus, whose biography is a veritable catalog of extreme pranks. He taunted his guests by serving them platters of fake food made from wax or wood or marble while he feasted on real delicacies. Sometimes he served his guests paintings of meals
What?
or napkins embroidered with pictures of the food he was eating.
That's kind of hilarious. Like
That's really
he just trolled all these people.
even when he served actual food, he delighted in mixing the edible and inedible, seasoning peas with gold nuggets, rice with pearls, and beans with glowing chips of amber. This guy is the worst. Sometimes he would turn lions and leopards loose on his guests.
Oh
The
no.
guests, not knowing the beasts were tame, would cower in terror. Unrivaled dinner entertainment for Elagubulus. One minute you're eating, the next you're being eaten. What could be a better metaphor for the fickleness of power, for the insatiability that tormented paranoid Roman elites?
So to sum it up, these guys were just real dicks.
Yeah, real
Just real
awful.
dicks about eating and put it. They were real goth, but they were also dicks.
And then you couldn't just be like, "I don't wanna come," because then it's like, "Oh,
Yeah, because then he's gonna
mm-mm,
kill the rest of your family or whatever. Ugh.
oh." And it's really awful,
They
you're
had
gonna
too
mess
much
up pe
time.
yeah.
What they really needed is like a good book. Some entertainment that, gosh. I looked it up because Memento Mori did remind me. There's at Disney World, the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
The gift shop that, like, I guess it dumps you into after you ride or is, like, right next to it or whatever is called Memento Mori, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, what does that
Oh.
mean?" And so,
Oh.
it's a reminder of death or mortality, but in, like, the 16th century, it would be like an ornament that is, remind you of the inevitability of death, and it's Latin for "Remember
Oh.
that you have to die."
Remember that you have to die, memento mori.
Yep, so, just so you know,
Cute
pretty
little
metal for sure, but But,
Cute.
if you invite somebody over for a meal, don't be a huge dick about it,
Don't
right?
hide pearls in their rice. Gosh,
Yeah.
that's really mean because it's not like they had, not like the dental abilities that we have today.
Yeah, or even I think you can get poisoned from eating gold. I don't think you're
Yeah,
supposed to, like, eat it.
yeah, they probably had to eat it. Gold nuggets.
Probably had to, or he's gonna kill your other son.
Mm, 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 mm.
It's just
So
like that sometimes. I don't know. There's definitely some bad stuff going on in the world today, but sometimes when you sit and think about it, it's like, I'm glad I wasn't born in like ancient Rome. That would suck.
that would suck. I'm glad that I wasn't around Mount Vesuvius when that
Yeah.
whole thing
Like there's
exploded.
an awful lot of older civilizations that kind of just sound like they sucked. So it's probably for the best that they're done and they're gone. So we'll round this out. I said I have two airport centric stories. So here's a quick one, a goodie, a quickie, a true Florida tale.
Yay!
So this is coming from the AP November 8th, 2022. And TSA handgun found inside raw chicken in luggage at airport.
Oh god. Oh.
Ugh,
Oh.
bro.
Oh,
First off,
raw.
they find people try and bring guns on planes all the time, right?
Jeez, why are you gonna put in some nasty chicken?
Yeah, but so somebody was like, "I'm gonna hide it in the raw chicken." It's like the raw chicken's more suspicious.
That's, like, really terrible.
I mean, I know dummies like try and bring their stupid handguns in all kinds of places because they're like, "I have a permit, I should be
No
allowed."
one's gonna expect. Why
But
would
like
that
a raw chicken is
work?
just why do you have a raw chicken at all going through security? That's messed up, right? They
It's
have to
so
take
gross.
that from you. That wouldn't hide it.
That's
So
so
it's coming out of
disgusting.
Fort Lauderdale Airport, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Mm.
So we had opinions on airports. I like
Oh,
the Fort
I
Lauderdale
like that.
Airport.
I do too. I like that I like Fort Lauderdale. I've never had any problems with Fort Lauderdale. I did have a problem at Palm Beach International with my wheelchair where they were like, "We don't know where it is," for, like,
Mm.
hour, and it was awful,
Like, you gotta know where it
terrible.
is, guys.
You have to.
You have to
You
know
have
this. You have to
to.
really keep a tab on this one.
They're like, "Uh-oh, we don't know." Ugh.
Ugh.
Ah.
I like at Fort Lauderdale, they have the fish tanks.
Yeah.
That's what I like mostly is they
Oh,
have
and
the
they got
fish
that.
tanks, and it's very tropical looking. They have, like it's a lot of, like, turquoise and pink.
Wait, and they got that. What is it? It's like that art it's like that art statue of, like, what is it? The man, and he's like has like a Walkman or something?
Oh,
Do
I don't
you
know this one.
ever Oh my gosh, when I have to, like, find this, and you have to
Yeah,
add this
find it
to.
and let me know.
Yeah, it's like this it's very bland looking, it's by the luggage cart, it's like some weird guy.
Oh, you know what else I like about the Fort Lauderdale airport? When you go to pick up your luggage, instead of just like a dinging bell or like the ring or whatever, like when the carousel like comes on and all the bags start getting loaded, it's a boat's like horn. It's like a cruise ship boat horn
Yes.
that announces that the bags are coming out, and I think it's so silly and I love it.
You ha you have seen this man. He looks like a real man, and he's behind glass,
Oh.
and it's called
Ooh.
Stuck at Airport, and he's, like, wearing a trucker hat. It's it's insane.
Let me see. Stuck at
You look it up,
airport.
he's wearing a Walkman. He is it's like the craziest thing I've ever seen it's so insane, and he's just, like, sitting there, some white guy with a beard.
I googled stuck at airport Fort Lauderdale art, and it's just pictures of people like stuck in a terminal. It's nothing. I can't find it.
If you search Fort Lauderdale airport statue, maybe he'll come
Or
up.
stat.
Dwayne Hansen is the artist.
Oh, it's like yeah. Oh my god. I don't like it. It's an overweight man with like with a trucker hat. with garbage next to him?
Yeah, vendor with
Huh.
Walkman. It's the art installation featuring
Yeah,
a seated 30-plus-year-old male wearing a red T-shirt, blue pants,
yeah, dude,
listening
we
to
don't need that in there. That's a bit like, I don't know. That's
It's
not
very
my favorite
strange.
installation.
It's very strange. I found the, what is it, Broward.org, the official,
Yeah.
installation.
We'll link it. I much prefer the Tampa airport's giant flamingo statue.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I love a giant flamingo. I'm not sure I like a guy looking miserable and way too
Looking
lifelike.
He's very lifelike, yeah.
Okay. So anyway,
Anyway.
all right. Fort
Okay.
Lauderdale, Florida. Security officers at a South Florida airport have reported finding a handgun hidden inside a raw chicken packed in travelers' luggage.
Jesus,
The
what a
Transportation
disgusting
Security Administration posted photos of the gun and poultry Monday on its official Instagram account. The weapon was recovered at the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. The post didn't
Ugh.
identify the traveler who was transporting the weapon or whether any arrests were made. Now, we're just going to wrap this up. And it's funny
Okay.
that like this broke because like the TSA has an Instagram account where they're like, "Isn't this weird?"
Jeez.
According to the TSA, fresh meat, seafood, and other non liquid food items are permitted in both carry on and check bags as long as they are packed in ice. Unloaded firearms are allowed to be transported in checked bags, but they must be declared at the ticket counter and packed in a lock hard sided container.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
so, yeah, I don't know. I feel like fresh meat shouldn't be allowed on planes. I don't care.
No,
Like,
I
that's
don't think
gross.
so.
I feel like it's a bad idea. I know, I guess people will buy, you know, I don't know, or maybe they'll, like, hunt or something, and then they're trying to bring back, like, the meat with them, but that's gross. That's just a
Yeah.
bad idea. Also, if I'm not allowed I had one Christmas where I was coming back from my parents' house, and they had gotten me, like, this fancy jar of peanut butter. It was, like, white chocolate, like, peanut butter,
Mm.
and it was really good, and I was like, "Well, clearly it's not a liquid, it's peanut butter." And the TSA took it from me and said it was liquid.
Oh, no. They said it was liquid, and they took it
Yeah,
home, and they
they
ate
said
it up.
because it was
Yum,
over
yum,
3
yum.
ounces and a liquid, like, I couldn't take it. I'm like, "Peanut butter's not a
They
liquid.
said, "That's
You
too
can't
tasty
drink
looking.
peanut butter."
That is too tasty looking."
Yeah, I think they just took it because they wanted my fancy peanut butter. And if I had taken all that peanut butter out and put it on a piece of toast or something, it would have been allowed. But because it was nicely like sealed in like a jar, they're like, "This is too liquidy for us. We've got to take it." So
Gosh.
I'm still mad about that. That was like
Jeez.
5 years ago. Still bad though. Still mad. But you know. Also, now that I have pre-check, I go through TSA so much with like liquid that is larger than 3 ounces, and they don't care at all.
Geez, next time you could bring a raw chicken as long as it's appropriately contained.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't contain a handgun inside of it.
Mhm.
Gross. That's so gross. Ugh. Ugh. It's like, guns have like all those little crevices and stuff in the side of it and like in a raw chicken.
Ew.
It's like
Oh,
it's both a dangerous weapon and like a salmonella bomb.
that's terrible.
So gross. Ugh, I hate all of that. So don't do that. If
No.
you have to fly with your gun, there's the way to do it and it's not inside a chicken. And maybe just don't bring it at all. You're fine. You don't need to go on vacation with your gun. It'll be
Yeah,
fine.
please.
It'll be fine. You'll be fine without it for a few days.
Oh gosh.
Just saying. And also you don't need to bring a chicken either. They have chicken in every single state.
I've lost my appetite for chicken
Mm. Ugh.
because of this mental image.
Well, you better watch out. That chicken could be carrying.
Oh, jeez.
Could have something on them. So I guess that's where we
That's
leave
it.
you. A classic Florida tale of flight and a man who we will remember as living in the Charles de Gaulle Airport.
Yeah. Oh, and that kinda ties together with the man that is at the Fort Lauderdale art installation.
That's true.
That's
It
true.
does. I guess it all kind of works out. Ugh. All right. Well, that's been the Florida Person podcast. We're going to sign off now. That's all your weird news for the week. You can catch us on any place that you can find podcasts or on YouTube. Bye-bye.
Florida person. Florida person. Florida person.